Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Cancer for October 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Check out my massive amount of free resources there. And while you're there, if you would love to have a live reading with me, I am off my long sabbatical from taking on new clients. So you can book a live reading at anniehelpsyou.com. What's going on in the month of October? We have Venus retrograde as our very strong highlight. Venus rules love, beauty, design, self-esteem, money, business, finances. So, a lot of areas of life. And because this is such an all-encompassing transit, I've gone completely bonkers with making resources to help you utilize the potentials and understand the cautions and everything. Okay, so I'm going to hit some highlights in this video. I'm going to tell you some basic things to know about Venus retrograde. I'm also going to tell you where Cancer placements will experience, which house they'll experience the retrogrades in, and what kind of questions and topics that can be brought up or likely to be brought up or that you can proactively delve into. In general, I'm calling the theme of the month for Cancers rethinking home, family, home housing and family, because there's going to be a strong energy for all of you in this fourth house of family, but there are some other things that I'm going to bring up and lots of details about all of this, okay? So I highly recommend, if you're going to do anything with love, design, beauty, things to your body, money, finances, that you become educated on this transit. And I have made sure that everybody can become educated on this transit, okay? So if you search for Annie Botticelli, Venus retrograde, you can find my video on this topic, super comprehensive. If you do Annie Botticelli, Venus retrograde, you can find my blog, do's and don'ts, at anniehelpsyou.com. I have a 12-part blog series that talks about retrograde in each of the houses. So I'll talk about the houses that are being accentuated, and you can see the blogs there. You can also look up my blog, Venus retrograde in the 8th house in Scorpio, Venus retrograde in the 7th house in Libra, because those are the ones globally that everyone's going to be experiencing, but you too. Okay, so that's going to give extra pieces. If you are a parent that has a baby due in Venus retrograde, or you were born with Venus retrograde, I've done an amazing blog for you talking about the wonderful attributes of people that have that sign or that placement, because for whatever reason, the only things I've ever seen or heard of are like negative things about it, and I'm just not into that. So you can check those things out on my website too. So with all that being said, let's talk about some things for Cancer. First, I want to start out with something off that topic of Venus retrograde, which has to do with Jupiter. Jupiter is leaving Scorpio. So October and the first few days of November is the last time it's going to be in Scorpio for another 11 years. And those of you who have Cancer placements from 22 to 29 degrees, if you're watching for your rising sign, or any other Cancer placement, or your birthday is like the last 8 days of the sign, you have yet to be kissed by Jupiter trining your placement, okay? If you're watching this early, because I post this early, then earlier placements, you're going to still have this like September, you know, so like another week or so into the sign. So basically the second half, we'll be experiencing this through September and October. So that is Jupiter making the most beautiful aspect in astrology, a trine. We've been talking a lot about these lately, with whatever your Cancer placement is. So people in that division, you definitely have some more Jupiter love coming your way before Jupiter changes signs and goes into Sagittarius. So that rules expansion, opportunities, you know, luck and benevolence, and just usually, especially in a trine, just overall awesomeness. So look out for those manifestations. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Venus retrograde, the time frame we're working with, some general cautionary notes, but you do have to refer to those other resources I created, because I'm not going to do anywhere near of a comprehensive job with those things as I will in those resources, okay? Okay, so Venus rules love, beauty, money, design, self-esteem, finances, so it's not the best time to do something new there, okay? So launching a business, doing something to your body physically, having a big design project, doing something radical in your love relationship. In general, it's not indicated because first of all, you're not seeing clearly. Second of all, you're getting information and things are changing so rapidly that if you decide something one week, the next week you could have a totally new set of information, a new chunk of information that could make whatever you thought the week before just totally null and void. Okay, so it's an ever-changing thing right now. It's an ever-changing thing anyway, right? But especially during this time. So October 5th through November 15th is the actual retrograde transit, but the shadow periods stretch a month on either side. September 4th through October 5th is the shadow. November 15th through December 15th is the post-shadow. The reason I mention this is because the rules and the manifestation and the opportunities and the blessings and whatever it's going to bring, it's all more amplified during those shadow times as well. Okay, so we've got from September through December to work with these energies. And now you have a million resources from me to help you to do that in the best way. And we're going to talk about some more. Retrogrades are a time to be the earthworm. Ted Andrews talks about the earthworm as this energy of working back over old ground to create fertile soil for new crops and new creations. So we're still working a lot in the backdrop. Some new things may have come in, but a lot of that energy is going to be new stuff from the past, like things you worked on, seeds you planted, like growing. The energy of something completely new is not as well indicated at this time. So try to protect and save those new projects in the backdrop until like the end of December, when the energy will be better for launching and pushing them out. That's in general. And in general, it's not the best time to make life-changing decisions, especially about love and money and body stuff. You know, try to not do anything to your body, to your hair, to your wardrobe, because it also rules those things in this time, because you're very likely to not be seeing things clearly. So we just want you to consider these things, to make a pin board with your ideas, to research, to assess things, but to not actually do it. But of course, as you know, the universe is comical, the odds that you will feel a compulsion to do these things are greater too. So it's just this cosmic joke, right? Because your impulse is stronger to do them, but at the same time, it's not the best time to do them. So you just want to kind of wrap everything up, keep it close to you, and don't do anything too bold or crazy. Just keep everything pretty conservative at this time. Okay, so the early degree placements, so the first part of the sign, at least the first 10 days, and even some of you middle degree placements, you know, at least half of you middle degree placements, you'll be having some of this energy in the 5th house. The rest of you will be having the retrograde energy in the 4th house. So we'll split it up, like the first half of the sign, first half of the degrees, 0 through 15 or so, you're gonna highlight the 5th house. The second half of the sign, you know, the 15 through 29 degrees, you're going to be in the 4th house. Or, you know, if your birthday's in the first 2 weeks, it's the 5th house. The second 2 weeks is in the 4th house. Okay. But those of you in the middle there, very middle degrees, like, you know, the second to third week, you all might experience both the 4th and 5th house manifestations. But you don't have to zone out at any time in this, because even though I'm going to specifically talk about the house manifestations for each of the placements, the 5th house and 4th house are being accentuated for all early, middle, and late degree placements for some reason or another. If it's not Venus retrograde, it's something else. So the questions, the topics, the things that are coming up that I'm going to list for each of the, you know, the 5th and the 4th house retrogrades, those could come up for any of you. So everything that I'm going to list is fair game for any Cancer to experience, okay? You can see a written version of the things I'm going to share in my definitive guide to Venus retrograde series, the 5th house, and then the 4th house, Cancer. But I'm going to give you some highlights here in case you don't make it to my site to check it out. Okay, so we're going to avoid making life-changing decisions. We're going to work old ground. We're going to look more to the past for opportunities. In general, you first half of the sign, the focus is going to be very strong. And remember, this could be for you later degree placements too, just not because of the Venus retrograde. About children, creative projects, hobbies, sports, recreation, you know, romance, pleasure, fun, also true love. Love can return from the past. Issues with children, things, the kids needing something, or a pregnancy, or getting pregnant again, or anything involving things like that can come back from the past, or more likely to. So something involving children, conception, pregnancy, childbearing, child rearing, you know, anything like that. There might be more information needed to have a successful pregnancy. If you've had a miscarriage, you may need certain nutritional supplements or have something very specific that you have to find out that this retrograde can help you find out. Romance often comes back from the past. Okay, so this could be someone you think is your true love that comes back from the past. This could be somebody that you weren't romantically involved with, but they come back for, you know, and now you're thinking about them in that context. Or it could be that love comes back in your current relationship, like the magic comes back, or issues come back. So it's for better or worse, you know? So great things can come back, or issues can come back. You know, in general, Venus retrograde tends to be a time that if there's something unresolved, it's going to come back very strongly, and it may make you want to take action. And, you know, if you're in danger, or if something like, you know, if you're in danger, you have to get out of a situation. Don't wait for Venus to go direct. You have to protect yourself. But in general, the negotiating of the separation is, you're not going to be seeing clearly. You're going to want to just get out of it. And you might not take things that are yours by, you know, that are yours fairly. So you just want to try to stretch those decision-making processes out until the clearer time towards the end of the year. So anything that you indulged in the past, like gambling or, you know, addictions that weren't serving you, those could come back, but the repercussions could be even higher now, okay? Because it's like coming back up in your face saying like, how's that working for you? You know, maybe you've forgotten about debt and it could come due, or someone, you know, comes saying, hey, you gotta do this. Backlash from choices, you know, so having temptation or tests to test your resolve about decisions that you've made in these areas could come up. Ways of having fun from the past could come up for healthy interactions too. So, you know, anything having to do with something that's fun for you. I see a lot of like dancing, singing, any kind of hobbies, acting, performing, things like that. So creative projects can come back. And if you want to do something with those creative projects, that's fine. It's perfect to have creative projects, especially in those areas, come back. Athleticism, modeling, fashion, anything like that. Again, it's like to the past. So if you're like a designer, doing a spin on a previous design that you did is going to be more, you know, probably better accepted than something like your brand new innovative something. You want to save those things for, you know, the end of December. So very good time for retro. If you have to get new clothes, try not spend a bundle on them because you're very likely not going to like them. So you can do what me and my friends have done, which we've had clothing swaps, which you just bring the clothes you don't want, and then you have a potluck, and then everybody leaves with new things. Nobody has to spend any money on clothes. So things like that, if the stakes are low, then it's a perfect time to just get some new things. But you'll see what I mean about things at this time. You know, you could find something that you really love and you'll always love it, but the odds are more like it looks really good at that time and then it's not anymore. So some lessons or questions actually from that I have seen come up, or that you can proactively ask yourself for this fifth house, is what lessons from past, present, romantic relationships are showing up for you to work with? Can you have more fun in your life, and how can you make some choices that are like low stakes and easy to implement now? How was having fun in the past negatively affecting you, and how can you rectify that? So like having too much fun, you know, how can you make right with it? I love counseling, kid counseling, family counseling, individual counseling is just my favorite for retrogrades. Doing anything to help magic return to relationships, returning back to play with things that were fun in the past. Any inner work. My Venus in retrograde in the fifth house affirmation for you is, I look with childlike wonder at my life, creating refreshing insights and experiences. Okay, so now let's talk about the fourth house manifestations, which again, this is the second half of the sign for the Venus retrograde, but because the fourth house is accentuated this month, any of these topics can come up for any Cancer placements. So this has to do with home and family. Childhood events, things that were imprinting you when you were a child, are more likely to come up and come back in your face, like feeling like, oh, this person, your partner, is my dad, or you make me feel like my dad did, or, you know, like this story that's current, but it's also past. Things like that can come up. You could push through them and you could have an even better relationship, or they can become deal breakers, and this could be like the beginning of the end. I've seen very often things come up as far as real estate issues, an inheritance, a family asset, the idea of owning a home, something with a home, a living circumstance being called into question, or anything like that. You know, making purchases. I have a lot of rules about making purchases, especially with houses and anything of value, on the blogs and in the video. So if you're going to be buying a house or selling a house, check those out for sure. But some general things to know. You're not seeing clearly. So if you're selling something of value, your instinct is to just get rid of it. And for some people that will actually be appropriate, and Venus retrograde will give you a treasure hunter buyer who will be so happy to snag your low priced thing, you know, and then you can just, everyone can leave happy. But if you're on the fence, if you think you might change your mind, if it's an emotional topic, if you're really pricing it low and you just feel really like you want to get rid of it, just really feel into it, okay? Because you may change your mind about that. It's not necessarily the best time to renovate. Or design, like do the design work, because the things that you choose may not be, you might not like them soon. So if you have to renovate, then try to, you know, take things that are more neutral or that you're really sure about, that aren't too much on the edge, that you may not be sure about when it, you know, the energy changes. So lost love can return to your home. So somebody that you lived with, a spouse can come back or something like that. The magic can come back into the relationship. We talked about that too. So questions to ask proactively, or things that might come up without you trying. How is my childhood affecting my life and my relationships now? Where can I apply forgiveness for the sake of my own health and happiness and for the sake of others? Does a family member need me? Can I show up in a bigger way for a family member? Do I need help? Can I ask, you know, can I ask for help? How can I be fair and balanced with accepting or asking for help from another person so that we each get what we need? How can you create more coherence in your home space? How can you make money from past investments involving homes, houses, family money, or design, or anything based in the home, like a home business? So any kind of healing that you do, or just any inexpensive aesthetics, you know, clearing out, organizing inexpensive things, that's pretty fine for now. It's just the bigger things that are higher stakes that you want to be more cautious with. So these are the things most on my mind for Cancer now. Now I want to talk about some more Venus retrograde stuff from the general standpoint, and then also some sweet spots and some dates to look out for. So I'm calling the theme of October 2018 for all signs Venus retrograde on the positive tip. We've already talked about what Venus retrograde in the house that it's retrograde for your sign can look like for you, and some strategies to best utilize that. And now I want to give you some general things, especially some positive things, but also with a few cautionary notes, and just a reminder that really you have to go watch my Venus retrograde video, Annie Botticelli Venus retrograde, and definitely look at the written version in my blog at anniehelpsyou.com, because there's so much to know about this transit. It's so long. It's from October 5th through November 15th as the actual retrograde, but a month before and a month after is the shadow period when we're going to still, these rules will apply. So one of the best things that Venus retrograde is amazing for is working on self-esteem. Everything that Venus rules, love, beauty, design, money, comes back to this energy of relationship with self. So our relationship with money and business, our relationship with other people, our relationship with how we feel like we look, all has to do with our self-esteem. So that's why in general it's not favored to try to push out in any of these other arenas, because it's really a time to locate and clear issues that are holding you back from the inside. So inner work, prayer, meditation, affirmation, you know, anything where you can heal from trauma and anything that's negatively affecting your self-esteem is amazing for this time. Something else that's amazing for this time is to look to the past for improvements for love and money. Okay, so that means like if you did something with your partner in the past that worked really well, or if in general, you know, you did certain things with your love life in the past that worked really well. There could be like a renaissance, a returning back to things that worked really well. Many people who are separated from their love will have them come back to them in Venus retrograde. If there's someone that you left off with and you're not sure about, sometimes they come knocking again in Venus retrograde. And it's a really amazing time to reconsider things. It's just, and assess. It's just not the best time to commit to anything that you're figuring out from the assessments. Something that Venus retrograde is amazing for is for treasure hunters. If you are looking for a deal on something, unfortunately, this is coming from the fact that many people are not seeing clearly in money, and they're selling things of value for emotional reasons at crazy low prices. So if you have money to spare, you could wind up picking up an amazing deal. It's just a treasure hunter's delight. Definitely be careful though, because it could also, something you buy could become a money pit. So you have to make sure that you're getting a really great deal, and that, like if it's a house or something, you really need to do as many inspections as possible and just make sure, you know, you have all your bases covered, you know, extra inspections like sewage, septic, you know, whatever, everything that you can do to make sure that you know that what you're buying isn't going to have any negative surprises, then it could turn out really well. You just have to look out for that. So in general, going back to the past for love, going back to the past for money and business, things that worked in the past with money, clients from the past, if you do something like you teach or offer something regularly, sometimes in a Venus retrograde, you'll have a bunch of people from the past who had been considering taking this offering might come out in full force. And of course, it could happen the other way. You know, a lot of people do have financial issues, like financial backlog, where they have trouble with their finances, and then that's going to point to healing some inner issues that are causing these reflections or the lack of stability. Okay, so I'm going to talk about hit some sweet spots and hit some challenging spots in the month. Remember, definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter, because there I give you a write-up of this general transit in more detail with lots of dates of actual aspects, what the aspects are and what to look out for each aspect, so that you can plan ahead. I always send these out a month early. And if you are signed up for my newsletter and you're not getting these, I'm definitely sending them. I always send them meticulously on time. So you definitely check for like your spam, promotions, or social folders, because if you're not getting in the inbox, they're going there. And then you can just move it over to your inbox or whitelist the email on there to get them in there. Okay, so let's just do a quick review of some sweet spots. Well, actually, let's do the challenging ones first. Okay, so we've got things to look out for on October 2nd, 5th, 8th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 23rd, 24th, and 31st, with extra emphasis on those ones towards the end of the month, the 24th and the 31st. Now, it's interesting because in general, the second half of the month has a lot better flow and sweet energy, with the exception of those two spots. Okay, those are oppositions with Uranus that can bring jolts and surprises. That could be challenging. So just kind of tread lightly around those days. And then the other ones that I listed, you could see some challenges. Always look out around the full moon, which is like the 24th, because, you know, there could be drama or there could be fulfillment, completion or fruition. And that's going to be in these energies of Taurus. So fullness, completion, drama, fruition coming to things involving money and business and self-worth. There's a topic coming up again, sensual delights, material resources, environmental and sustainability projects, boundaries, resistance to change, things like that. Oh, and anything having to do with your throat, vocal cords, thyroid gland, etc. could bring things to light, or bring things up to be dealt with. Okay, so I want to end off talking about the sweet spots. We've got some of the days that could turn out to be challenging could also turn out to be super sweet. So you'll hear when I list the sweet vibe days. And always remember, when I give you these dates, we could feel the energies before or after the actual date, because there's an orb of energy around each transit. So don't stick too heavily to the dates, just kind of tune into how you are experiencing the energy. So sweet spot possibilities on the 5th, the 8th, the 15th, the 19th, the 22nd, the 24th, the 26th, the 27th, and the 29th. In general, the second half of the month, like I said, has a lot of sweetness, with the exception of the 23rd, 24th, and the 31st, some things to look out for. but there's some really awesome things going on, like October 22nd. Mercury is making a beautiful aspect to Pluto. So your powers of persuasion are improved and your powers of perception are improved. Then there's also this October 27th with the Sun in Scorpio making an amazing aspect to Saturn. So this is a great energy to get things done, and also an enhanced possibility of being seen or acknowledged by somebody in a position that you want to notice you. So it could be like someone in your family that you've always been kind of chasing their approval, or it could be somebody, you know, in the work world. October 29th, there's this mixed bag, but it really has potential for a lot of good news and good luck. Mercury and Jupiter get together. So whenever any of these personal planets get together with Jupiter, the energy of luck, you know, amplifies out, and Mercury rules news. So some good news about money, about something involving your partner. It could be money from your partner. It could be your own money. Lots of magical potentials here. Of course, it could also bring intensity to conversations, you know, in the Scorpio realms or something like that. But in general, I'm looking for that day, hopefully, to have some good vibes. So overall, this month of October, some little awkward spots, and definitely the Venus retrograde is going to have this shadow. But if you understand the energies, as you will if you use all of the many resources that I made for you, then I think that this can be a really sweet month. And for the things that are challenging, you could really have pure alchemy to turn the lead to gold. So go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. You can also see more about my personal live readings, which I'm off sabbatical and I'm taking taking new clients now. If you've been wanting to have a reading and have me look at your chart. Also, if you would love to learn astrology, check out my astrology apprenticeship program. I also have all kinds of other goodies on my website. If you want written horoscopes from me, they go into often different things than I focus on in the reports. So it's a really good written highlight and summary, and includes great reads for each sign. So cozy by sweetstarlight.com. And if you're a traveler and you want to see my astrology travel reports to see what days to look out for specifically for travel, then check out Astrology Kissed Travel Bliss. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.